For this video, I am excited to be revealing a brand new, never before seen card from the upcoming Legends expansion, Moons of Elsweyr. That expansion is going to be coming on June 27th, so it will be occurring before the Master Series Finals in QuakeCon, and that also has me really excited, but we're not going to beat around the bush here. We got a lot to talk about. The card that I am revealing is a Khajiit, and I'm going to start by teasing the art because I think that the art is gorgeous. So you can just go ahead and soak that in as it appears on the screen right now. And now that you've had a moment to reflect on it, all right, let's go ahead and reveal the card. So the card that I'm revealing is a common card, but it's one that's going to be showcasing one of the brand new mechanics, Wax and Wane. My card is Servant of Ja-Kha'jay. This is a 3-cost endurance creature. It is a Khajiit. It is a 2/2. However, it says Wax of +2/+2, Wane, silence a creature. Now, what does that mean? Well, Wax and Wane is something that's going to be very specific because it's tied to your turn count. Now, there's going to be a new part of the interface that is going to showcase your turn count. So when you load up the client, when you are looking at your Magicka, if you hover over your Magicka, for example, it's going to say, 1 of 1 Magicka, turn count 1. And you can see an example of that there. Now, keep in mind this is specific to your turn and not your Magicka. So if you do ramp your Magicka, that does not impact Wax or Wane. This is very specifically your turn count. Now, here's how you remember things. Here's your mnemonic device. Wax is 3 letters long. Wane is 4 letters long. 3 is an odd number, 4 is an even number. On your odd numbered turns, Wax is active. And your even numbered turns, Wane is active. So turn 1, cards that say Wax would trigger the Wax portion. Turn 2, cards that have the Wane would trigger the Wane portion. Turn 3, you're back to Wax. Turn 4, you're back to Wane, and so on and so forth. Now, these abilities will trigger any way that a card enters play. So, for example, if something were to summon a Servant of Ja-Kha'jay with a Balmora Spymaster, it would still trigger Wax or Wane when it comes into play, depending on your turn count. Now, these are not summon abilities, so cards like Abner Tharn, for example, cannot copy them. Cards like Ulfric's Uprising will not re-trigger them. Think of it as plot in that regard, but they do trigger when the card enters play. And it triggers based on your turn count. So again, we'll use Balmora Spymaster as an example. I got Balmora Spymaster on the board. It's my opponent's turn. They attack and kill my Spymaster. When the creature enters play, it's going to base it off of my own turn count. Now, why does that matter? Well, because with the order of play, my turn count will not always match my opponent's turn count, right? If they went first, their turn 5 is still technically like my turn 4, or so on and so forth. So it takes into account your own turn count. Again, that'll be something that you can hover over on the Magicka portion of the client and see. So what does that mean for this creature? Well, in my opinion, it means that this is actually a really powerful common card creature that offers a ton of utility. And it's actually going to, in my opinion, make for some really interesting choices. And there's a strong chance that this might end up seeing play. Why, you ask? Well, Young Mammoth has been a staple in this game for a very long time. A 4/4 body on a 3-cost with the breakthrough on Young Mammoth has been fantastic. Servant of Ja-Kha'jay here, when played on curve, meaning if you play it on your turn 3, will be a 4/4 4/3. Now, you don't get the breakthrough out of it, but you still get a very, very big body for the cost. And the other thing that's worth noting is that if you don't play it on curve, you can opt instead to use this as a utility creature. You'll still get a 2/2 creature for 3, but you can silence a creature. Now, silence is a very powerful tool, and in many ways, you're getting like a discount Spooky Ghost. Spooky Ghost, again, I'm using a nickname here, but it's the 4-cost 2/2 creature that has Prophecy, and when it enters play, you silence a creature, right? So you don't get the Prophecy portion if you use the Wane mechanic here, but you do pay 1 less. You still get the 2/2 body, you silence a creature. The fact that this is an endurance creature means even more because it's another form of silence potentially available when you want to maybe use it on cards like Imprisoned Deathlord or Siege Catapult, or maybe the new monthly card, Hulking Mummy, that was recently released. So a lot of potential uses from this, but in my opinion, I just really like the flexibility. A 4/4 for 3 is very, very strong. A 2/2 that silences, while not great at 3, is still pretty good. I mean, when you compare it to something like Earthbone Spinner that still sees play, you are getting very similar results. You get 1 less attack stat, and you do not get the ping. And don't get me wrong, that ping is relevant, but that's still, I think, a pretty fair trade-off for something that's very flexible like this card is. Similarly, you do not have to activate the plot portion that you would have to with something like Hlaalu Sharpshooter, and then the trade-off for that is 1 less stat, and a 2/2 instead of a 2/3, and again, no ping. However, again, this is flexible. This can be, if you need it to be in an aggressive deck, a 4/4 for 3. Now, you might gum up your hand a little bit from time to time because of the turn order, right? Maybe on a turn you really need this to be a 4/4. You're stuck on an even numbered turn. Maybe on a turn you really need this to be a silence. You're stuck having to wait yet another turn, and it might be too late. It's not like it's permanently flexible all the time, but I think that good players will find ways to play around this Wax Wane mechanic. I think that knowing what cards do what on those turns is also going to be a very great thing to have if you want to be a very skillful player, right? Understanding like, hey, my opponent is going into an even numbered turn. You know, if they were holding on to this, they might have silence available, or, you know, they might be able to draw a card if you're talking about the agility creature that was revealed in the article, and so on and so forth. In fact, I would dare say we're probably going to see a cycle of these, because we've already seen 2 of them, when you count the article, that are common Khajiits with Wax and Wane that are in the 3 slot, and from 2 different attributes. Do I think that we're going to see a full cycle that exactly costs 3? Maybe not, but I bet each attribute at a minimum gets a common card that has this Wax and Wane mechanic. And I just really, I like the idea of the mechanic. I like that it's creating interesting player choices. Yes, sometimes with these you're just going to play them on curve, and there was no choice involved. However, cards like this, in my opinion, where, you know, maybe you're playing a different 3-drop and trying to save the silence for the following turn, maybe you really need the 4/4, maybe I don't know. I like the idea of an opportunity cost. That's I think the right term for me. There's an opportunity cost when you play a card like this for Wax or Wane. And I think that this is a really cool design. I think that it's a nifty implementation, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what other cards have this mechanic, because it's right up my alley in terms of creating like quality micro decisions that'll impact the course of a game. So I think this card is fringe playable. Again, a 4/4 for 3 is nothing to be upset at. Silence is very powerful. So do I think this is like a meta buster? Probably not. It's the sort of card that just enhances existing archetypes. That being said, I do think it is good enough to consider including, even if it's not as a 3 of, as a 1 or a 2 of, because of the flexibility. I think it's going to find a home somewhere. I like the design. I like this card and what it brings to the table. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing the other ones that are revealed. As always, you know, even if I don't respond to everything, I read everything, so I want to hear, you know, what are your thoughts on the Wax and Wane mechanic? What are your thoughts on this card in particular? Are you excited to see more? You know, what else do you want to see from the expansion? This is, as always, in my opinion, my favorite time to be a Legends content creator, because I love talking about new cards and theory crafting, and I just adore reveal season. So I'm really excited. You probably can't tell because I'm dead inside, and I'm also filming this at like 1 in the morning. However, I promise you, I am legitimately excited, and I'm really looking forward to this set. So I want to hear what you have to say. If you made it this far, as always, I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching, and until next time, may you walk on warm sands.